On May 13, 2015, in the city of Cochabamba, Bolivia, one of the most horrific murders in the country occurred. On this day, two members of the Adriázola family were brutally killed. Without a doubt, the entire country was in shock. But what was even more alarming in this case was WHO committed these crimes. Gloria Adriázola was born in 1992 in the city of Cochabamba in northern Bolivia. She grew up with her parents, Amar Fernando Adriázola and Gloria Bustamante, as well as her sister Peggy, who was almost 10 years older than her, and her younger brother Amar, who was born just 3 years after her. People close to the family say that Gloria and Fernando raised their children according to their values and with respect. The mother was a petite yet physically and emotionally strong woman who devoted herself to sowing and cultivating flowers on her plot of land. Fernando, on the other hand, was a Taekwondo instructor, an expert in the sport who had achieved a black belt. He saw Taekwondo not only as a means of self-defense, but also as a way to instill discipline, responsibility, and maturity. This passion was something he successfully passed on to his family, especially to two of his children, Gloria and Amar. Peggy, who pursued a career as a pharmacist, could not participate in sports due to partial cerebral palsy, which left her unable to move the left side of her body. Gloria and Amar, however, were not only similar in appearance but also shared a passion for Taekwondo. Over time, they managed to pass the necessary exams and matches to earn their black belts, just like their father. They later became instructors at the same club. Gloria, however, gained recognition not only as an athlete, but also as a wonderful person. Her teammates and students appreciated her for being cheerful and always finding the bright side of things. To fund Gloria's trips to international tournaments, the club organized various activities such as selling soft drinks, raffles, and dinners to provide the necessary support. In sports, Gloria stood out for her flexibility, movement control, and skill, which enabled her to qualify as the only Bolivian athlete selected to represent her country at the 2015 Pan American Games. The 23-year-old national champion was counting down the days to her trip, dreaming of bringing home a gold medal for her country. Tragically, Gloria's dreams were cut short by a tragedy that shocked the nation. Amar, just 20 years old, was an instructor at the Panthers Club and the Martial Arts Hall. Alongside his sports career, he was also studying at medical school. On his social media accounts, Amar frequently posted photos and videos of his training sessions with Gloria. Anyone who saw those posts could tell the siblings were almost inseparable and deeply supportive of each other. However, deep down, Amar harbored feelings of jealousy and resentment toward his sister. She had become the national champion, while despite his hard work, her achievements overshadowed his. He also felt that their parents favored Gloria over him, often buying her clothes and praising her successes. Only his girlfriend, Alejandra Saavedra, knew about the bitterness growing within him. Alejandra met Amar at the age of 17 when she joined the Taekwondo Academy, where he was an instructor. She fell deeply in love with him, and they started a relationship. However, their relationship did not have the approval of either of their families. Reports suggest Amar was aggressive, often belittling and emotionally abusing Alejandra, which led her into a state of depression. She was even admitted to a psychiatric hospital for a few days to recover from the stress. Yet after her release, the couple reunited, despite their family's objections. By October 2014, Amar, fed up with his family's interference in his life and feeling constantly overshadowed by Gloria, began devising a plan to get rid of them with Alejandra's help. To the outside world, the couple pretended to have ended their relationship. Amar even started dating a teenager named Oriana. However, he and Alejandra continued to communicate secretly, talking on the phone and meeting in private. Amar's motives for wanting to eliminate his family were not only driven by jealousy and resentment toward Gloria, but also by material desires. He dreamed of opening a cafe with Alejandra, but lacked the capital. He believed that with his parents and sisters gone, he would become the sole heir to their home, land, vehicles, and other assets. Furthermore, Amar was determined to remove Gloria, who had already established herself as a sports champion. While Peggy, due to her paralysis, posed no threat, Amar saw her as a burden and decided she needed to be eliminated as well. Gradually, Amar convinced Alejandra to help him develop a plan so they could start new lives together without facing opposition to their relationship. On May 13, 2015, the couple decided to put their plan into action. That day, Amar and Alejandra purchased 5 animal sedatives from a veterinary clinic and agreed to meet in the evening. Alejandra then went to university, where she bought disposable surgical gloves to avoid leaving fingerprints. At 8:30 p.m., she arrived at Amar's home. Together, they went to his room, where she hid behind a curtain. According to court records, Alejandra crushed the pills and handed them to Amar, who mixed them into the hot chocolate his mother had prepared for the family. Everything seemed to be going according to plan, but his mother, exhausted from working in the fields, fell asleep on the couch and didn't drink her portion. When she woke up, her husband complained of feeling unwell and then lost consciousness. Panicking, she asked her daughters to fetch Amar. Gloria went to look for him in his bedroom, but the door was locked. A few minutes later, with Gloria and his mother, they rushed Fernando to the hospital, leaving Peggy at home, sitting in her chair and watching TV. While the doctors treated Fernando, the sedatives in the drink began to affect Gloria. She told her mother she felt very sleepy. Her mother suggested she rest in the car while they waited for the test results, but Gloria declined. The mother then asked Amar to take her home. Upon arriving home, Gloria immediately went to her room, removed her jacket, and stepped into the yard, possibly to use the bathroom. At that moment, Amar attacked her from behind, attempting to strangle her with his hands. Gloria fell to the ground, but, despite her drowsiness, managed to get up and tried to defend herself. Amar struck her hard in the face, knocking out a tooth. Taking advantage of her weakened state, he and Alejandra attacked her with a sharp object. During the assault, Gloria, still struggling to defend herself, grabbed Alejandra by the hair, pulling out several strands. After receiving over 20 stab wounds, Gloria fell to the ground in agony. Amar then went to his parents' bedroom and stole 200 Bolivianos, approximately $30, which he gave to Alejandra to make it look like a robbery. According to some accounts, Peggy was killed by the pair shortly after Gloria. Other reports suggest Peggy's murder was carried out by Alejandra using a sharp object taken from the kitchen before Amar returned from the hospital. After the sisters were dead, Amar received a call from his mother asking him to bring his father's documents, as the doctors had decided to hospitalize Fernando due to arrhythmia. Amar quickly changed out of his blood-stained clothes, putting them in the washing machine. He told Alejandra he needed to go to the hospital and advised her to leave quickly to avoid suspicion. However, Alejandra stayed behind, attempting to clean up the evidence. She packed a backpack with a mobile phone, a computer, and the knives used in the crime. Meanwhile, Amar's mother waited for her son at the hospital. Minutes turned into hours, and when he didn't arrive, she took a taxi home to retrieve the documents herself. Arriving at the house, 56-year-old Gloria asked the taxi driver to wait for her since she only intended to grab some documents and return to the hospital immediately. Entering the yard, she saw a slim girl get up from the ground and run into her son's bedroom. Gloria assumed it was Ariana and didn't think much of it at the time. When she entered the house, she found her daughter lying in the backyard, covered in blood. Gloria screamed and tried to revive her, but when there was no response, she ran to Amar's room to look for the girl she had seen earlier. However, it seemed she was no longer there. Gloria moved further inside and the door suddenly slammed shut. At that moment, she realized it was Alejandra, who quickly locked the bedroom door and leaned against it to prevent Gloria from escaping. Gloria noticed bloodied gloves on Alejandra's hands. Fearing for her life, Gloria tried to grab the key to open the door, but Alejandra seized her hands. A struggle ensued, during which Gloria pleaded to be let out to help her daughter. Hoping her eldest daughter Peggy could hear her, Gloria shouted for her to call the police. However, Alejandra told her she wouldn't hear anything. Gloria screamed louder but received no response. Fearing the worst, she summoned her strength and pulled Alejandra by the hair, forcing her to the ground. During the fight, 200 Bolivianos fell from Alejandra's pockets, which Gloria recognized as having been stolen from her wardrobe. Gloria eventually managed to break down the door to escape. As she moved through the house, she discovered that Peggy was also dead. Gloria then tied up Alejandra with a rope and dragged her toward the door. Calling for help, she alerted the neighbors, who quickly arrived and called the police. At around 4 a.m., Amar returned home to find Alejandra being guarded by his mother and several neighbors. Shortly after, 2 female police officers arrived at the scene. Entering the house, the officers were met with two horrifying scenes and called in homicide investigators for assistance. In the living room, the investigators found the lifeless body of 32-year-old Peggy. She had 5 stab wounds to her chest and 4 to her neck. Forensic analysis later revealed that the wounds ranged in diameter from 1 to 5 centimeters, with injuries that severed her trachea, thyroid gland, and neck vessels. Her lungs, chest, and left rib were also damaged, causing significant bleeding that led to her death. In the backyard, Gloria's daughter lay on her back, lifeless. Her body bore 20 stab wounds, particularly around her neck. She also had bruises on her eyebrow, lower lip, left foot, and right rib. A tooth was missing, indicating she had been beaten. Police suspected that a second attacker had inflicted the stab wounds. Investigators conducted a search of the crime scene. In the corner of the bedroom, they found a blood-stained glove in Alejandra's backpack. Inside were 2 blood-stained knives, a black knife handle without a blade, 2 surgical caps, a laptop, a tablet, a mobile phone, women's blue pants, a black jacket, a white coat, and a snakeskin wallet containing another knife. The house was in disarray, with the parents' wardrobe broken into and scattered bills on the floor. Investigators believe the double murder was premeditated and staged to look like a botched robbery. However, Gloria's unexpected arrival disrupted the plan, leading to mistakes that ultimately incriminated the perpetrators. Initially, only Alejandra was arrested and charged with the double murder. However, her lawyers argued it was implausible for her, standing just 1.5 meters tall and weighing 37 kilograms, to have single-handedly killed a national Taekwondo champion. Yet for reasons unknown, Alejandra refused to implicate Amar, unwilling to see him in prison. In her first account to the police, Alejandra stated that on the evening of the murders, Amar had called her to share that his father was being taken to the hospital. Worried, she went to his family's home and found the door open. According to her, she entered and discovered Gloria's bloody body. While trying to help, Amar's mother arrived, leading to a confrontation. As Alejandra tried to evade responsibility and protect her boyfriend, Amar did everything he could to shift all blame onto her. In his initial interview, Amar claimed that on the night of May 13th, he had plans to watch a movie with his new girlfriend, Ariana. Around 11 p.m., however, his sister Gloria informed him their father was unwell, prompting him to accompany his mother and sister to the hospital. At the emergency ward, Amar's mother told them to return home and rest since Gloria wanted to sleep. Amar stated that when they reached home, his mother called to request their father's documents and a blanket, as Fernando would be staying for observation. Amar claimed he parked the car outside, ready to return to the hospital, while Gloria entered the house to fetch the documents. She reportedly spent about 6 minutes inside before returning with only the blanket, saying she couldn't find their father's ID. Gloria went back inside to search again, and Amar discovered the ID in the car. Without informing her, he left for the hospital. At the hospital, Amar said he could not find his mother. A nurse then asked him to assist his father in the ward. Amar claimed to have stayed with Fernando until about 4 a.m. when a neighbor called to inform him that his sisters had been murdered and his mother was in distress. On May 15th, 20-year-old Alejandra appeared in court as the prime suspect in the double murder. Prosecutors presented evidence linking her to the crime, including strands of Gloria's hair in her right hand, Alejandra's blood-stained backpack containing 2 knives, a mobile phone believed to belong to the victim's father, surgical gloves, and other personal items. The court ruled for Alejandra's preliminary detention in prison. On May 22nd, the case took an unexpected turn when Amar was arrested on suspicion of planning and executing the murders alongside Alejandra. He was accused of being the mastermind behind the crime and sent to prison. The prosecution cited several pieces of evidence, including Alejandra's eventual confession. Feeling betrayed by Amar's attempts to blame her entirely, she revealed her version of events. Alejandra stated that Amar envied his sister Gloria. While both were athletes, Gloria consistently won awards in competitions. Another issue troubling Amar, she claimed, was the family's planned inheritance. Their mother had decided the rural land would be equally divided among the parents and children. Amar, however, wanted to claim the entire property to fund his projects. Alejandra admitted she overheard Amar planning to stage a robbery at the house, but didn't warn the family, thinking he wasn't serious. On May 13th, Alejandra met Amar, who allegedly told her he wanted to travel with his dogs and needed sedatives for them. They visited a veterinarian who recommended 3 tranquilizers. Amar decided to purchase 5 tranquilizers instead of the recommended 3. The couple parted ways, agreeing to meet at the university to study and spend the night together. However, Alejandra said that Amar canceled their meeting. When she called to find out why, he rudely replied that his father was in the hospital. Concerned about his father's health, Alejandra decided to visit the family home around 1 a.m. According to her statement, she arrived to find the front door ajar. Upon entering, she saw Gloria's bloodied body lying in the yard. Alejandra claimed she wanted to help but was interrupted by Amar's sudden appearance. When she asked him what had happened, he threatened her, saying he would harm her mother and brothers if she told anyone. After that, Amar left the house. Alejandra said she got into the family car to try to help Gloria. However, as she approached to check if Gloria was alive, Amar's mother arrived, attacked her, and dragged her into a room where she lost consciousness. When Alejandra regained consciousness, she found herself wearing bloodied gloves. She alleged that the knives and other incriminating items found in her backpack had been planted there. The police chief noted that evidence beyond Alejandra's testimony directly implicated Amar in the murders. This included clothing and shoes Amar had changed out of after leaving his parents at the hospital. These items were later found in the washing machine with traces of blood. Surveillance footage from the veterinary store also showed Amar and Alejandra buying tranquilizers, contradicting Amar's denial of any recent contact with his ex-girlfriend. Investigators suspected the pair intended to sedate Fernando and Gloria, as both were physically strong and could resist an attack. It was further confirmed that Amar and Alejandra were still romantically involved, fueling suspicions that the crime was motivated by money. Amar's statements during questioning were inconsistent, raising additional doubts. Despite mounting evidence against him, Amar insisted on his innocence. He claimed to seek justice for his sisters and maintained that Alejandra alone was guilty, as she was the only one caught at the crime scene. Meanwhile, Alejandra and Amar continued to accuse each other, though the police adhered to the theory that both had planned and carried out the murders together. While lawyers for both sides dismissed the evidence as circumstantial, solid proof emerged through surveillance footage, phone records, text messages, and cell tower data. These records revealed the suspects' movements and confirmed bloodstains on Amar and Alejandra's clothing matched those of the victims. Another piece of evidence was a footprint found at the crime scene that matched a pair of sneakers belonging to Amar. These sneakers, discovered in the washing machine with traces of blood, contradicted Amar's claim that he entered the house only at 4 a.m., wearing a different outfit. Over the following months, the prosecution continued gathering evidence, ensuring they had sufficient proof to charge both suspects. On February 22, 2016, the trial began. To support their case, the prosecution presented over 40 pieces of evidence and the testimonies of 48 witnesses. Finally, after 3 hours of deliberation, on March 17th of the same year, Alejandra Saavedra and Amar Adriázola were found guilty of double homicide and sentenced to 30 years in prison without the possibility of parole. Upon hearing the verdict, Alejandra and her family wept bitterly. Amar, on the other hand, remained silent, bowing his head before embracing his aunt, who had supported him throughout the trial. What do you think about this story? Share your thoughts in the comments and don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel.